Hello and welcome back to Angie B Cards and Crafts. So today I thought I would do a little bit of playing with the Dina Wakley Media Gloss Sprays. If you haven't seen these, they are brilliant. I really like them. When I first got them and I sprayed them, I was like, oh, they're not really doing it for me. And I seem to say this with a lot of things. I'm conscious that I've said it a few times on different videos. And it just demonstrates the need to play. So I started off with about 4 or 5 of these. I now think I have about 20 of them. And I love them. I've just actually had to reorder my favourite colours. I've got half a dozen that I've had to reorder because I'm less than half full now on the bottles and I don't want to run out of them. So what I'm going to do today is just a very quick page in my journal, just showing you how they move, how they react with each other, what you can do with them, and hopefully give you some ideas of what to do with them. So I'm just going to basically start off. The things that I've thought about are, I'm going to do it in my journal, but I've put a larger page underneath just to stop it spraying through onto other paper. Obviously I've got an open seam there, so there's going to be some seepage, but that doesn't worry me. If you're bothered about that, then you need to look at either taking your journal page out or working on a separate piece and sticking it into your journal is another way to go. But I quite like just putting things in my journal because then they're there and I don't lose them. So what I'm going to do is just start off spraying a few colours. Now these have got a ball in them because they will settle. There is a sediment at the bottom that is to do with the gloss. So you need to give it a shake. Now if you watch any of Dina Wakley's videos, which I would highly recommend, she says that she just gives them a shake. She doesn't worry about getting all of that sediment off the bottom. She just gives them a bit of a shake and that's sufficient. So once you've given the shake, this is my mystery one. This one is marine and it doesn't have a ball. So no matter how much I shake it, it's not got a ball in it. Don't know why, but it still works, so I'm not worried. So I'm going to start off. This first one is olive. Just put a bit down. Because they're acrylic, that means they're plastic. So after spraying, make sure you give the nozzle a wipe and put the lid on. Because if you don't, then they're going to clog. Quick shake and then put it down. Now you can see the little dots starting to form. So what's happening there is it's plastic on top of plastic. So your first layer, this paper hasn't been gessoed, so it's just paper. Your first layer is going to absorb in, so it's going to be a little bit duller. So you can see this pink and this yellow and this pink that are just onto the paper are kind of looking a bit dull. And that's because they're being absorbed into the paper. As soon as you put another layer on top, you start to see the sheen, but you also start to get these bubbles and these holes. And that is the acrylic resisting the acrylic that's already there. So it's just pushing it open. I like that effect. It's one that you get quite a lot with using these gloss sprays. And personally, I really like the way it works. So all I'm doing, I'm not really worrying about where I'm putting the paint, I'm just putting it down. I'm not really worrying about what colours I use either. It's just whatever's to hand. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out on my desk at the minute. So I'm just picking up whatever's there. I have a little bit of this blue. And the last colour I put on most of the pieces I do, tends to be a dark blue called Night. I'll show you, it's my favourite. It's this one. And I do really like the way that this looks. You can see here as well. I'll try and lift this up a little bit for you. So there's actually some movement and striations occurring where the different paint colours are mixing. I absolutely love them. But when it gets to the centre of my page, I tend to get a bit of kitchen towel or a raggy and just absorb those bits that are likely to run off down the middle. So again, if you watch Dina's videos, if you haven't already watched them, please do, she's brilliant. She will say, don't ever under any circumstances heat set your gloss sprays. She hates heat guns. Personally, I heat set mine all the time, so that's exactly what I'm going to do now. Before I put on another layer, I'm just going to heat set, but you can see the colours mix with each other. They don't turn to mud, you can still see the vibrancy of all the different colours. That little bit there is determined, it's going to run right the way down. Okay, so we're just doing a quick heat set, and you'll also see when you heat set the bubbles start appearing more and getting bigger. A little bit like if you do alcohol ink and you heat it, you tend to get more of the bubbles. So that's kind of what you'd expect. Okay, so we've got most of that dry. It's just so that it doesn't all run everywhere, and then I'm going to spray on my night. And I just love the way this looks. I just love it. It is the best colour. And I don't usually go for dark colours, if I'm honest. So what I'm going to do with this one is just start to run it a little bit as well, so you can see it's beginning to run. Not everything was completely dry. So things that I would recommend if you are using gloss sprays is, if you want to keep your surface clean, cover it. There happens to be a piece of plastic at the side of me from some papers that I opened. That's the only reason that's there. The rest of my desk tends to get pretty well covered. But don't panic, it does come off. So you've got a couple of options of it getting it off, but the easiest option is using alcohol gel. So this is just alcohol hand sanitizer that we've got in the house. So I just happen to have acquired it into the craft room, and if you put it down onto the alcohol ink on your work surface, then it is, not the alcohol ink, onto the gloss spray, sorry, it's going to clean it up. Put it down and give it a rub, and it cleans it up really well. The other option is if you work on a craft sheet, any overspray will make a fabulous skin, because it is plastic, so it's going to do what acrylic paints do. As you build up the layers, it's going to solidify and become a piece of plastic that's usable. Right, so I'm going to put this to one side now. If I just show you the underneath, the spray off here, it does tend to go quite a way. So I would suggest, if you do want to keep your surface clean, you need to do a really wide cover up. I'm going to move this and let the last little bit, settle of its own accord. Right, so underneath I always have just a piece of paper, because it's brilliant for catching your spray. This is a tag, it is a Ranger tag, I believe. Oh no, it's not, it's a craft tag from Stencils, size 8. Oh, it is Ranger, yes it is Ranger. I thought it was. Oh, I've got two here. Oops, thought it felt thick. So on this one, I'm going to do very similar, but I'm going to start off just with one solid colour. I'm going to go for fuchsia. I do rather like fuchsia. Now I say solid, I don't anticipate the whole of the tag is going to be one colour. Okay, so I'm going to put that on. I'm then going to put a stencil on top. Now this is a brilliant, I love this stencil. It is from Clever Prints. It's Emma Blake's design, Circles Not Circles, and I just think it's really clever. I love it. So we're not going to get clear, perfect images. That's not what we're aiming for. We're going to get a wispy image. But there's still some ink on here. So what I'm going to do is flip it and print. I think Dina's given this process, it's got a name, I think it's spray and flip or something. But it's what a lot of us already do with our other mediums, so it's nothing new, but you get a really nice secondary image. If you wanted to carry on, you could. So let's give this a blast. And then we have the papers which I've previously done. I've got one here which is actually an old book page that I sprayed up, and it's got some much darker bits on it. So I'm just going to tear that a little bit. I'll tear off that end. Yeah, we'll Now again, you can tell I've been watching Dina because I've gotten into using my stapler. I don't like that bare end. So I'll just pop that on there. And we're getting the beginnings of something there. I'm going to put something up here as well. Quite like that yellow on that side. Oh, my stapler's decided to stick. For some reason my coloured staples always cause a problem in my stapler. Don't know why. Right, so we've got the beginnings of something there. We can add some other pieces. I have some string here which I can add in. This is actually the string off a blouse that I got that was holding the tag on. I quite like it. I happened to bring it through from the other room this morning, so it happens to be sitting on my desk. We'll make use of that, thank you very much. Give it a bit of a splay out. Never leave your ends dull and boring and finished. You loosen them off, it just gives a little bit more interest to what you're doing. You will find that tags curl when you spray them, the same as they do when you put any wet medium on, so don't be surprised by that and don't be worried about it, just go with it. If you spray the other side then it'll straighten out, or you can spend some time straightening it out just simply by folding it, rolling it rather than folding as such, just bending it slightly. Okay, what I would then do would be look for, I don't think I've got any people on my desk at the minute, but I quite often have got little people that I've drawn and cut out, and I may well stick them on. I don't appear to have any just at the moment, but what you could do is then pop a person onto the top of here. Oh, I know where there is one that I'll just use for demonstration purposes. I've used one as a bookmark. This is My Beautiful Faces book, the Jane Davenport one. So this little chappie I can then choose to spray up, chop his legs off I think, spray him up and have him there, and then I would get a sentiment, so that one, quite like that, Inspiration. So these sentiments are the word ephemera from JMC Designs, and it's a really simple concept that Julia McNeil has done, is that she's put words onto paper in different fonts and cut them up. And you'd think, well, why do I need it? And to be honest, it's because it's then there. You don't have to worry about it. You can choose to do it yourself, that's absolutely fine. But if someone's already done it, it's just there waiting to be used. I never quite leave these as they are. I always like to cut them down a little bit, and I tend to colour them up. So to colour this one up, I am going to use the sprays. I'm going to use a lighter one, so I'm looking for lemon. There it is. Now I'm hoping this will work, I don't know if it will. There we go. That's sprayed up, and then once it's dry it just needs a quick whiz round with an ink pad to make it stand out a little bit. In fact, I think I might spray my little man up while he's here. I'm going to spray him in a darker colour, so we'll go for the marine, and we'll go for night. And I'm going to put a little bit of eggplant on as well. So the eggplant and the fuchsia are quite often used together. The eggplant's more purpley, the fuchsia's obviously pinker. What I really like when you spray is that these act as masks, and it just makes your sheet look interesting. And what I'll quite often do then is cut that out and use that. This is literally, I mean, I'm not a drawer at all, and this is just a sketch of a person that I did just to use as a mask. So that's him done. We can choose where we want him to go. I'm going to chop him down. I'm going to chop your legs off, sorry mate. Yeah, we can stick you on there. We need a little bit of Stays On ink. The reason I use this Stays On ink to do this is it dries quickly because it is solvent based, and because it's going on to something which has got a bit of a smooth surface, because it's gloss spray, it's going to sit nicely, and you'll see my thumb has got some on, so I'm getting little overruns. So I'm going to intentionally make them happen, just because I like things to look a bit mucky. And before I stick him on, I'm going to go around my tag a little bit, rough it up. I do like things. I used to hate black. The other day I made myself laugh. I actually picked up a black buff that doesn't belong to me, you know, neck. In fact, I've got it on today. I'll show you it. This thing. It's a black buff neck scarf thing. And I picked it up and put it on just because it was the one to hand. And it was only afterwards I realised it was black. And I don't have anything black, with the exception of one skirt. I don't do black at all, but I've now decided at the ripe old age of 50 that maybe I can get away with black after my entire life avoiding it. So anyway, what I'm going to do is stick him on, get some glue. I'll use my Cosmic Shimmer because it comes out a little bit easier than the tonic. So just for ease and speed, I'll stick him on with a bit of Cosmic Shimmer. So he's going to have a little bit of a lump in him, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with the odd little lump. And then we can stick Inspiration coming across there. If you want to use a dry glue for sticking down, so tape or something like that, then that's absolutely fine. I tend to use wet glue because I change my mind, so I've got a little bit of time to move it. Depending on, sometimes I'll use a gel medium and that gives me a lot more time. I'm just going to tuck a little bit under there. I don't like the way that's lifting, even though it's stapled. So I could have used a staple at the other end, but since I had glue to hand, I've used that. Right, so there is a finished tag using the gel sprays. I just really like the gel sprays and the way that they work. They have got, I don't know if you can see, they have got a little bit of a sheen. You can see it a little bit when the light's on it there. There. So they do have a sheen to them. So that's gel, I keep saying gel sprays, gloss sprays. Sorry, it's gloss sprays, not gel sprays, gloss sprays. So this tag, the pickup tag that I did, is pretty much dry now. And I will show you the page that I did as well. Just be aware, I put that one down and obviously it had some on the back of it. It's acrylic, so it's a glue, it's going to stick. So if you put it onto other paper, it will stick. So be aware of that. Your pages will stick together if you shut your book too soon and the likes. So you can see this is stuck a little bit, so I'm just going to take that out from underneath just to make sure it doesn't stick anymore. But that's the page. What I would then be doing is looking at putting the tag into there. Probably raise it up onto foam pads just because of the string wrapped around it. But I quite like that. And then what I'd do over here is some other sort of masking and adding colour in. But yeah, that's one example of what you can do with your sprays. You can also use them on your gel press, so don't be afraid to do that. They give, if you just do a simple gel press pull, you get a very wishy-washy colour. If I can find one. I don't seem to have one to hand. Oh, I have, I did some yesterday. So these are, that's the kind of wishy-washy colour rather than a more solid colour, but you can also use your stencils on the gel press and get a whole range of things using your stencils. So I will be doing another video on that, but that's just so that you know that you can use them on your gel press. So yeah, the Dina Wakley Media Gloss Sprays, Glossy Acrylic Spray Paint is fab. But just remember, it is acrylic, so it's plastic, so it's going to actually resist another layer underneath it, so you're going to get these nice little bobbly bits. It's got a slight gloss to it and a slight sheen to it. Dina recommends let it dry naturally. I really like the way it looks when you force it with a heat gun, so I'm not worried about that, but it's up to you what you do. You can lift pieces off, so you can see on this edge here it's still a little bit wet. So what I will quite often do, just for speed and because I'm impatient, is take my kitchen towel and just lift the blobs. There's another one over here. The thing with using kitchen towel is it sometimes has patterns on. This one has, and that means that if you are lifting things off, you can end up with the pattern imprinted on your work. So think about whether or not you want to do that. The other thing is I will then use this. This has been used with gloss spray, so it actually goes a bit crisp. So I will use this in a piece of work. This bit that hasn't got as much on is much more soft and easy to crumple. This bit's more foldable. So yeah, they solidify things. So because it is an acrylic, it is going to, if I close this page now, then the page is going to stick together because there's still some wet bits. So make sure it's fully dry before you close it. I'll put another piece on top of it. It goes on your hands, but it does come off. If I just show you on my hands, I think it works on hands with the alcohol gel. Let's find out. Yeah, there you go. It's come off. Wow, that's really good. So there you go. It's comes off your hands really easily with a little bit of alcohol gel. So don't be afraid of it getting on your hands. You can, if you want to, for cleaning up, scrape it. Personally, as I say, I just use the alcohol gel. And have fun playing with them. Just keep playing. I tend to use the bright colours. I do have the muted colours and I will be using them in another video. But yeah, enjoy it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please press subscribe, press the little alarm bell, get more information about what Angie B Cards and Crafts is about. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. It's Angie Mary B on Instagram. And hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye.